Hello, amazing. Do you want to be free? Do you want to feel like you're free to do whatever you want to do? Welcome to Reframes, the podcast where we invite you to take a different perspective on life. I'm Mathias Jacobsen. And freedom is one of the topics that I'm very interested in. I'm always curious about how freedom looks and feels and what we do that limit our freedom, how we limit our own freedom, how we try to limit the freedoms of others. So I had a thought about it this week because I am traveling. I haven't traveled in a while for work, but this Monday, tomorrow, I'm teaching a class with a school here in São Paulo in Brazil. And so I've flown from New York to Brazil last night. Today is Sunday. I'll teach the class tomorrow, and then I fly back to New York again tomorrow night. So I'll be in São Paulo for about 42 hours. And when I tell that to people, they find it entirely unreasonable. They say, why would you fly so far and then only be there for 2 days? It's a 10-hour flight. Like that's ridiculous. That's unreasonable. And a part of me can agree and understand. Like it is. It doesn't fit with the idea that if you travel really far, you need to also kind of make something out of it. But my thought is this: if we want to be free, if we want to feel that we're free, I think sometimes it's necessary to do things that go beyond the norms. In this case, it's reason. There could be other things as well that are limiting. But being reasonable is certainly something that I think is a good thing for most of the time, and certainly also something that other people seem to think is important. However, if we always stay within this reasonable, if I let the voice of others or even my own inner voice of what's reasonable set the rules, then something like this I would never do. But it's something that I want to do. I feel a desire to go and do this work, to go and teach this class and share some of the things I've learned about visual thinking and how to use it to generate ideas and clarify concepts. So it's extremely meaningful work, and I don't know, I struggle with it myself because I can't quite explain it. I can point to things and say, well, I don't want to be away for too long because that's really intense for my wife to be all alone with all the kids, and so there's a reason also for why only 2 days. But even for me, it is definitely like a little bit beyond reasonable. But I feel a desire to do it, and I think there's something important here. I think this is the real takeaway from this rant. That if you want to feel free, you have to not just think about what you want to do and then decide, but just occasionally dare to go beyond your own limitations, to feel that limitation if it's reason, or if you feel a need, if you're normally extremely consistent in what you do and what you don't do, perhaps being inconsistent. Because when we do it, not just think about it, but when we actually do it, then we have evidence. We can point to it and say, that was a time where I did it. It wasn't just that I thought about it, but I did it. I know that I can do things beyond the constraints. And then honestly, it might not feel the way you think it will. You know, when I landed this morning, I thought this day was going to be this intense feeling of just freedom and I can do whatever I want. And it didn't feel exciting at all. It felt like a big responsibility to have this whole day and not have any constraints and kind of have to figure out my own system to chop it up into pieces. But I'm still glad that I did it, because it's a different kind of challenge than just staying within the normal confines. So I hope you'll take that away. Sometimes if you're a consistent person, they're being inconsistent. Sometimes if you're a very reasonable person surrounded by other reasonable people and you feel an inexplicable urge to do something unreasonable, unless it's too dangerous, maybe do it at least once in a while and just observe how it feels. And then you know what it feels on the other side. Thank you for listening to Reframes, the podcast where we invite you to take a different perspective on life. This podcast is produced in collaboration with Nikish Mikis. I'm Matthias Jakobsen.